Hey everybody, it's George. Welcome back to the channel. Today, where it's been so hot and I was canning beets and stuff, I was watching a little bit of YouTube, and I seen this about guns that you should have in case crap hits the fan, as they say. Well, I wanted to do my version of it, just as just a mountain man common sense type version. Uh, you don't have to have some kind of big fancy military gun or something like that. I've got 5 guns and a bow back here that I want to review. And this is what, in my opinion, would be guns that really everybody should have if you're a hunter or whatever. If you're preparing for doomsday, it's whatever. I mean, there's nothing wrong with those other guns, but they're not a have to. But whatever you have, please take them out, line the scopes up, be proficient with your arms. You take a 22 shooting, 50, 100 yards. I wouldn't go 100, let's say 50, 75 yards, which I'm sure there's people out there and pull a lot longer shots, but with me, 50 to 75 yards, I can hit a bottle cap off the top of one of them soda bottles with my little 22. Okay, and that's why I brought it, because if there's a squirrel, a rabbit, anything else within 50 to 75 yards, I know I can take it. Now, the 22 I have is the Ruger 1022. It's synthetic stock. It's got a Nikon scope. Now, on optics, okay, you can put bad optics on the best gun in the world, and it's still going to be, a bad gun. It's not going to shoot good. So spend a little extra money and buy a better optic. This here is a Nikon. It's a 3x9x32, which is plenty sufficient for a 22. And this little gun will shoot a 1-inch group out to about 75 yards. I don't pull it out to 100. It's just not something I do. I don't plan on taking 100-yard shots at squirrels. I did buy this little fancy flash suppressor put on the end of it, but that's the 22. It's just a little old simple Ruger 1022. It's got the little 10-shot magazine, and I checked every one of the guns. They're empty, but we're going to keep them pointed at a safe distance, because safety should be always first. But it don't matter if you've got a single-shot bolt action 22 that was your papa's gun, and you take it out. You learn to shoot the iron sights, which I can shoot this with iron sights. You take it out there and you get efficient with it. That's all you need. Okay? Now, on the next one is for you may be out and need to, maybe you ain't as good with a squirrel, that's what you are, you ain't as good with a 22 getting squirrels. This is a Mossberg 500. They're not that expensive. I got, now the Ruger 1022, I bought it when it first come out, and I think it was $179 or maybe $189 out, tax and all. It was like $189. I've had it for a couple years, but I bought the Nikon scope, put on it, but now, it's well worth the money I spent into it. The Mossberg 500, it comes with interchangeable chokes. It's got a full choke modified and improved, and I've got a turkey choke for it. And that's 4 guns right there. You just change the choke and it changes it to 4 guns. I do keep this little side sleeve on it, so if I need to, I can reload quicker. But I keep a sling on about every gun. You'll see every gun has a sling. But this little Mossberg 500 will do anything I need to do. It's a 12 gauge. And, I can shoot turkeys, ducks, anything else that, I need to with this. But it's just a simple shotgun. You don't have to have some big fancy name brand or nothing like that. Just a simple, pump shotgun. You can have a single barrel. I've got single barrels that I if I'm just piddling around taking a day going squirrel hunting, I'll take a single barrel shotgun with me. Just because, I did that when I was a child. And, it was a lot of fun. I can squirrel hunt the single barrel shotgun just as good as I can this pump. But I figure, the Mossberg 500 is a more uh, out there gun. There's more of them. It's a bigger production gun. And for some reason, all the old single barrel shotguns and 22s and stuff around here seem to have left the market. The old Marlin Model 60s, which, my grandkids have Marlin 60s. I, see to it that, when they get older, they'll have them. Because that was my second 22. The first 22 I had was a single shot bolt action 22 until we learned to shoot and respect the gun. And then we got, a semi-automatic. But the squirrels they killed over time is just unbelievable. But, if you got even a Marlin Model 60, if it's a old single shot, 22 or shotgun, hey, if it does the job, it does the job. It, just whatever you're comfortable with and whatever you shoot efficiently with is the most important thing. Okay, this here was a Christmas present from a buddy of mine. It's a Ruger American 270. I love the 270 caliber. I know there's a lot out there that, nowadays that surpass it, but as far as I've always had a 270, I always have a 270. I like a 270. Now, I've got other calibers, and they shoot just fine. You seen the other night I brought in that, it was another 270, and I've got a 223. That's a good varmint rifle, and if that's all I had to hunt with, I wouldn't be a bit afraid to take it out. But now, on my bigger guns, I like Vortex. I've shot a lot of glass, and I used to shoot all Nikon and stuff like that. But as Nikon kind of faded out of the scope market and took their lifetime warranty away and stuff, I kind of went to hunt a new scope. Well, I have to say, I've had returned one to Vortex. My mistake. I didn't realize you couldn't tighten these down like we used to. Remember, we used to get these good and tight. Well, now you don't do that. You've got to torque them, or it messes up stuff in the scope. You crush the scope. But you can take this scope right here, beat it with a hammer, send it back to Vortex, and they'll replace it. Their warranty is that good. It's a good clear glass. Okay, to me, you cannot beat these 6x24 by 50 Vortex. They're just an all-around good scope. It's called the Crossfire 2 6x24 by 50. I've got these on all of my high power rifles. Every one of them has the exact same scope because I like it. I had a one that had the dial in over here for your yardage. I couldn't get used to it. I'm used to reaching up here and twisting for my yardage. But as far as a good a scope it's made, this little Vortex right here, I think is as good a scope. Now, I'm a deer hunter. I don't shoot 1,000 yards. I don't do none of that mess. But you take one of these Ruger American Gen 1s and a good Vortex scope. I don't shoot more than 400 yards or so. It's just for safety reasons. But, this gun right here will do the job on the deer or anything else you have to shoot at. Okay, here's one not a lot of people mention. But I love my muzzleloader. This here is, well, I'm trying to say that it's a Pursuit. And it's the G Generation 4. And it's a Tradition. I plumb forgot the name of it. It's a Tradition Pursuit Gen 4. After muzzleloader season, if you don't get in a hurry, go back and check at your local Walmart stuff. You'll find these really discounted. That's what I've done here. Now, it comes with a Nikon, what is this? It's a 3x9x32 scope on it. They hold up tremendously well. I can keep about a 2-inch group at 100 yards with this, and I've never had it to miss far. I've never had to fail me. My gun before this was an old MK85, Black Knight MK85 with the disc and all that, and I always said if I found one that would outshoot that, I would let it go, and I did when I found this one. Okay, a buddy of mine still got the old MK85, and he loves that gun. Okay, he still hunts with it. There's nothing wrong with those old muzzle loaders. It's just, I found an upgrade, so I did it. But, if you go wait after muzzleloader season, all the powder, all this stuff goes cheap. The only thing right now I've seen having problems with is finding the little 209 shotgun primers. But when I run up on them, I'll buy 200 or 300 at a time, and that way I've got them if I ever need them. And these will shoot the Pyrodex pellets and powder. Okay, I shoot 100 grain. I'm not looking to get stomped. And I think I shoot 140 grain bullet. But you're talking about a deer slayer right there. It is. And it's light, and it will get the job done. But now on a muzzle loader, about 100 to maybe 125 yards as far as I'll shoot. Okay. Right here is a Ruger P89. It's unloaded. I've got the clip in. I'll kick the clip out. But, this gun right here is as good a gun as you can get. And it's a big frame gun, which I've got big hands, and I need a big frame gun. The magazines hold 12, I think, 12 or 15. I think they're 15 round mags. I've got 3 that come with this one. The gun works perfectly. It shoots good. It's accurate, and it's even got the trigger or the hammer release on it right here, and the safety. So it's a good gun. I didn't give a whole lot for it, but this is my truck gun. This stays in my truck, and it goes where I go. I'll put it that way. I have a concealed carry, and if I need to conceal it, I can do that too. But on this, I've got friends that carry 22s and 22 magnums. Okay, that's a great little snake gun. When I'm out here roaming around in the blackberry bars and stuff, I carry a Heritage 22, and I've got one that's got a little 6-inch and then about an 8-inch, and I've got one that's got a 19-inch barrel because I just thought it was kind of cool. And there's a lot of the older guns that when they first come out had issues, they fixed. And you don't have to go out and spend a ton of money. You take a little old Heritage 22, get the 22 Magnum cylinder. Man, I'm telling you, that's not a bad little gun. You get the 6-8-inch barrel, they're accurate. And, you can hit a rabbit or a squirrel or whatever with them, but it takes practice. And shells have come down a lot here lately, so you can afford to buy, a couple. Get out and shoot your guns. Enjoy them. Be sure you clean them when you come in. Wipe them down good and put them up. And, if you get proficient with your firearm, that's all you need. You don't have to run out and, buy some bazooka or something like that. Your old deer rifle will, if you want protection, there ain't a man in this world ain't heard on TV and don't know what that means. And you want to make a man that's sneaking around have cold chills, work that pump. I promise you he'll get cold chills all over. He'll double think what he's thinking about. Okay? You don't have to, if there's somebody breaking in your house, now I know they got the ones that's, the little short ones that's more easier to move around and stuff. And if that's what you like, great. But you work that pump. Man will rethink 2 or 3 times what he's about to do if he's messing around your house. Okay? If there's something out there in your pasture field and it's bothering one of your critters or, like coyotes, something trying to get down the cow, you take that right there. You can reach out there and put an end to the nonsense and do it in a hurry. But if it comes down to, let's say it does crap hits the fan. Okay, if you have confidence in what you have in your hand, that's half the battle right there. If you got a gun and it's a spray and pray, it's what I call them. I'm not knocking them now. I mean, I like an AR, I like an AK, I like a SKS, all them old guns like that. I like them. And, I like the AR-12s that hold them big 12 gauge shells that you just boom, 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 boom. Those are great guns if you get a good one. Okay, but the same deal. If that's what you're going to have for your protection, get out. If you want to put an optic on it, put an optic on it and get proficient with it. If you're not, learn to shoot them iron sights. Now, if you notice, on none of my guns, I have lighted optics. Okay, and here's why. I had a red dot scope on it was on a muzzle loader, and I was sitting in the tree. Turned it on, deer's coming up the hill. I'm waiting on it to come in, and the battery dies. My little red dot dies right then. Okay, the deer was out there probably 75 yards, and I had to let it walk because of that battery dying. Okay, I made my mind that day this was a bad idea. Because think about it, if you are in a crap hits the fan situation, or maybe you're in some kind of situation where you're trying to get home and stuff, and you turn around and the scope you picked out is dependent on a battery, and the battery dies. Okay, if you ain't got your sights, and most of these new guns, if you look, they do not have sights on them. They don't even bother putting them on them. Even this muzzleloader here, did not come with sights. I'm sure they have them out there. You can order them, but the Ruger 1022 now hit come with sights, and the shotgun come with sights. But a lot of the rifles anymore you buy don't have sights. Okay, so they are scope dependent. But in my opinion, now I'm not saying nothing against the red dot. The scope was not the problem. I didn't change the battery often enough, and I didn't know how often I was supposed to change the battery. I've had halo sights. I've had those like red dot sights on pistols and stuff, and they work great. But in my opinion, and it's just my opinion, you know what we say about opinions. Uh, if I'm gonna have a scope that has a light in it, I want my crosshairs to still be in it, to where if it dies, it just loses the color, and then you can still shoot the gun. Okay, now as we've discussed, I have a bad back, and I used to have a what was it? I had a compound bow. I was trying to think the name of it. My brother-in-law has it now because I got in a tree one day, standing there in the deer stand, pulled it back when the deer was coming in, and my back went out, and I had to release the bow, and they had to help me out of the deer stand twice. He told me no more. He said, I'm taking that that bow with me. And he said, you need to find you something else. So I hunt with a crossbow for that very reason. And another reason is I can cock it. Oh, okay. Okay, hold on just a second. I can cock it or have somebody else cock it while I'm here at the house, and then I can put my arrow in it when I get to we get to the deer stand. But now this one does have the light on it, but it also has the crosshairs in it. And there's one thing: if you find your bows, these don't run out of shells. And the bolts and stuff, like I said, after deer season is the best time to buy your stuff. These bolts are around $6 a piece. The broadheads I shoot, I think which I shoot Allens. I've shot all of them. When it goes through a deer, the deer don't go, wait a minute, that wasn't a big brand name. Okay, I have brought down deer with every kind of. I keep these cocking ropes, and like I said, if my back's hurting and I'm being stubborn, I want to go to the woods. I can take it to one of my son's houses, or I can take it to my buddy's house, have him cock it for me. It'll stay cocked. Then when I get up in the woods, all I have to do is put a bolt in it and, make sure that I make a good, accurate shot and give the animal plenty of time to expire. And as long as you do that, I think these crossbows are great. This one here, I think shoots. It's a Parker Enforcer. I want to shoot it. Say it shoots 350 feet or 400 feet a second, and it does the job. And you don't have to have a fancy crossbow. I got buddies that shoot 10 points. I've got buddies that shoot, even the cheaper ones from Walmart. There was one that had problems from Walmart, but you know, just do your background check. Look it up, see what kind of reviews and stuff it has, and go from there. But I think everybody ought to have a good crossbow because this is quiet. If you're in the woods and you're trying to, take a deer and you don't want everybody knowing you're doing it, this is the way to go. Now, I also have a. Everybody thought it was funny when I bought it, but I bought one of them pellet guns that shoot 1,300 feet a second. And the reason I bought it is quiet. And, if I'm sneaking down here at my garden and, I've killed rabbits with it at 25, 30 yards. I've killed squirrels with it 25, 30 yards. They don't laugh so much now. But it's a good quiet gun. If you wanted to sneak off and go hunt you a squirrel and everybody not know what you're doing, that'd be a good to take with you. They shoot as fast as a 22. And if you get the right pellets, I have what is them, Red Hots, I think, or something like that. I had a fender sitting down here off of a car, and it would punch through that fender of that car. So, they get pretty fast and they get pretty rough. And we found one of the pellets where it went through the fender of that car, and man, it wasn't nothing but mushroomed all the way back. And it done a good job. But like I said, whatever guns you pick to have or you can afford. I know I've got a friend of mine, she's an elder lady. She has a little old 22 pistol about that big. And I'm telling you right now, she shoots it accurately. And I would not want to run up on her if I was trying to bother her. And she has a 22 rifle. And, she shoots it very proficiently. And, that's all she says she needs. And that's all she wants because she can't stand the shot of a 12 gauge. She can't stand that kick. And there's no way I would put her behind my 270 or my muzzleloader because she just can't stand that kind of lick. Now, you take like this Ruger 1022, it don't weigh that much, but it's a lot heavier than the 22 that she picked out. She wanted one that was real light and that she could, shoot proficiently, and it works great for her. And, that's what she has, and she's tickled to death with it. Okay, I got people that I've got a buddy that coon hunts with crickets, a lot of them hunt with crickets and stuff, and, they knock coons out with them. I know that I've squirrel hunted with them, they do real good, and they're $129. They're a single shot little bolt action rifle, but if that's what you can afford, that's what you can afford, and as long as you learn to shoot it, you can't beat it. You don't have to have a big brand name. Okay, I want to come on here and just give you my common sense, thing about all this. But, pick your gun that suits you. Yours may be completely different. I got buddies that thinks the AR, the AR-12s, the bullpups and stuff like that is the way to go. That's the cat's meow. They've got big, high-powered rifles, 300 Win mags and stuff like that. Okay, and if that's what they like, that's what they should shoot because they feel confidence in those guns. Okay, like I said, I like an AR. I like an OSKS. I love OSKSs. The AK-47s and stuff, those are workhorses. Now, just because I showed this Ruger doesn't mean I'm a Ruger fanatic or nothing like that. I like Glocks. I love Springfield Arms. I love Smith & Wessons. I want a TARS 357. It's just not in the works right now. But I'd like to have me one that had about a 6-8 inch barrel on it. And, maybe one day the money will come around and I'll be able to afford one and I'll be able to get me one. But you know, look in your gun cabinet, and if you had to pick a gun, and you know that that was the gun that you was going to, go to the woods with and survive or whatever, you know, get proficient with it. And you take a 22. The reason I really like a 22 is, you can buy 550. You can buy a box or a big old bucket of 1700. There'll be a few of them misfire, but for the price difference, you can't beat that. And just for target shooting, man, you get out there and you take that bucket. I think they're about $99. I don't know. I think it's 12 or it may be 1,200, maybe 1,700. I don't know how many's in them. But for $99, you can shoot an awful long time with that 22, and you can get awful accurate if you take that determination. You take, look at the first thing I do. I wanted a 300 Win Mag so bad, I did. There for the longest time I thought, boy, if I had me a 300 Win Mag, I got out there pricing shells. Oh no, I can't afford that. There ain't no way I can afford that. Every time you pop that trigger, it's $4 or $5 a lick. I ain't doing it. I just can't. And back in 2020, man, them suckers was going $75 to $100 a box of 20. I can't do that. That's just out of my budget. But you take those 270, I think they're about $26 a box for 20. Okay, I can afford to take this out there and shoot 4 or 5 times, make sure my scope's lined up. And then, if I can take a deer or something with it, I can afford that. And if you really treat this gun right and don't beat it and bang it around, it should, next year when you take it out, it should be shooting right where it was the year before. But now the reason I picked a 12 gauge is for a long time, you couldn't find 20 gauge shells. And I buy the little blocks of 100s. It's 100 low powered, 7.5. These right here. Okay, you couldn't find a 20 gauge. Now you can. They're up to about $26, $27 a hundred, which still ain't bad. That's what 4 cents a shot. Well, if it's 100 shells, it'd be 26 cents a shot. I think. I'm not a mathematician, so, but still, you know, that's a good little shell. I have the big turkey loads and stuff, but you can't beat that. And I like 12 gauge because the shells, you got so many options you can buy. And, you can get double aught buck, triple aught buck, single aught buck, right down to the 7.5 and 8 of these in low brass. You can do a lot of good hunting with these. But I appreciate your time. I appreciate you sitting there listening to me yabber. But, I wanted to come on here and give you my personal opinion. I don't think you have to have some kind of, big fancy gun. I'm not saying if I have them or I don't. But, as far as go-to guns is hunting, feeding myself, my neighbors and stuff, this will be what goes to the woods. Well, I appreciate y'all stopping by. Have a good day. Have a blessed day. Be good to each other. And we'll see you on the next video.